everybody. Welcome to the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Tilford, joined by Jules Gill.
Hello.
And Ash Millman.
Hello.
Now, last night was many things in the UK and around the world, including our office Christmas party. But one of the biggest things in the West was the Western Game Awards, the Video Game Awards.
Yes.
Where a whole bunch of things got revealed and announced, and different games won different awards, funnily enough. We're all hungover, to be honest. I'm just going to steer into it. But yeah, in terms of new things, I thought we'd break down everything in regards to the biggest new announcements and trailers and gameplay demos and stuff. And then we might get to some awards if we have time. But in terms of new things, Hellblade got a sequel, which I did not see coming at all. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, as we spoke about earlier on today on the news that you can go watch on the gaming channel about the Xbox Series X, we were both there saying, well, Hellblade kind of summed itself up in a very, very definitive way.
Yeah, I don't know how you do anything else.
But seeing this sort of realm explored again is going to be fantastic because the first game was so entrancing. It was just like so well made, and no one expected it to be the hit that it was. So seeing more money put into it, seeing it being put at the forefront of the Series X with such a strong cast as well, and that music.
Oh, the song is so good.
It is so good. It's done by a band called The Who, H-U. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, or Her.
The Who.
The Her, maybe. But they are doing really well for themselves. So, yeah,
That's
go check
great.
it out.
I think, Ash, you just finished it, didn't you? Hellblade.
I finished it this year. Yeah, I played it this year, and I loved it. I loved that game. Probably bashed through it in a day because it's not that long. I think more like short stories in Senua's world would be really interesting. I just want to know where else they're going with this and what are the traumas they're going to go through with it. Because I hope she has a nice time this time around, but I don't think she's going to.
Considering how
Didn't look like it, did it?
No, she looks like she's almost in pain when she's doing the chanting thing in the new trailer. But yeah, they've changed the title, so it's Senua's Saga, and then now it's Hellblade 2.
Now-
So they might do more stuff with her in the future.
That's what I was going to say. Like, making it a saga implies that there's going to be more than there's going to be this. So maybe this is like, I mean, trying to place this in a timeline, if that's even possible, is so difficult because does it take place in her life?
Well,
does
I
it
thought
take
it
place in the beyond that? Like,
I thought it was like maybe in the past, like when her tribe was in full flow, like
Yeah.
the
Maybe.
events, but that leads to the beginning of the original game.
It could be like more revenge sort of thing as well, because the whole time she's like figuring out what's going on and learning about it in the past and all different things coming together. So maybe it's just her fully having this like, oh God, everything really was quite crap. Now I've got myself together, let's have some more fighting.
Maybe.
I mean, either way, looking at that giant stone, like mountain figure at the end, I was there like, wow, if they're going to start doing some like big boss battles, then that could be something quite spectacular.
For the most part, in the first one, they didn't do too much supernatural stuff unless it was like, it could be explained away by her psychosis. It was just like, but in the real world, quote unquote, there wasn't anything.
There was
I don't
like
think.
the Val Raven and stuff, but like disappearing and reappearing and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I guess so. And there was like, you had that sort of fight scene with that boss battle where it was like a really darkened room.
Yeah.
The guy's like appearing and
Yeah,
disappearing.
the bull that's like,
Yeah.
I think it definitely had a lot of supernatural stuff in. Like, it very much felt like a mythological world, I would say. But I guess you can paint that off as her psychosis.
I was kind of thinking that initially, but yeah, when you think about it, there were like more over the top things. In terms of improvements, I hope that with more money, they do a way more robust combat system.
Yeah.
I feel like for a game that actually relied quite a lot on its combat system, it didn't.
It was quite repetitive.
Yeah, but all it would do is just a few tweaks could make that feel perfectly serviceable. Like, and I don't know anyone who used that as a real negative not to play that game.
At some point, sounds like something I would do.
But not in a way that would be like, oh, I didn't see it through to completion. You should be like, so it dragged a little bit in this area.
No, actually, I remember thinking the combat was super punchy. I got sick of the rune puzzles repeating so much, like where it was just go find 3 more things.
I enjoyed the rune puzzles and I enjoyed the combat, but I found the combat more repetitive than the rune puzzles, if anything, just because it was literally like bosh, get out the way, bosh. Like, it was just very much like it felt quite repetitive.
One of them.
Like,
especially when you would like effectively like defeat an enemy. It looked like you'd like bested them, and then it'd be like, nah, still got a lot of health left. And it's like, but I've just done a really cool animation that would definitely imply I've killed you. Like,
I should have definitely won.
Yeah, okay.
Slow down.
Yeah,
It's worth pointing out that this was running on the new Xbox Series X hardware, which is like it's our first glimpse into what the new hardware is going to look like. Me and Jules did a whole separate video on the Xbox. I keep wanting to call it the Xbox One Series X.
I know,
Xbox Series
not.
X. But Ash, what do you think of the new system?
Yes, it looks
Weird
very.
tower thing.
It looks like they're very much riffing on the monolith from 2001:
Yeah.
Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Like they absolutely lent into that, which I back. I think that's quite funny. But yeah, I don't know. It just looks like a box to me. essentially.
Doesn't it look like sort of like a portable speaker?
Yeah,
Like-
people say
like a
it looks like
tower
a PC, and I'm
speaker.
like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And obviously, Microsoft send all their stuff to PC as well, so it's
Yeah.
nice that they're kind of just leaning into it and saying, here's like your gaming system like for people who don't need all the PC stuff, who don't need to do their emails, basically.
Yeah, the first thing that I thought of when I saw it was like it was a PC comparison because it is like a big tower thing. But maybe that's just the way that like living room stuff is going, and you can just slot it in next to your TV rather than be.
I mean, when you look at the sort of like modern setup in a household with like a sound bar with like all of the speakers around there, like does it look out of place really? And that not really. It does. I don't know.
It's vertical because it's like the Wii.
You can have it horizontal though.
Okay, I didn't see that. That's fine.
It's a little weird though because it'll be one side of it will be glowing, I guess, and then not like from the front.
As long as it's sidewaysable, I'm fine because I don't like it when they're vertical systems. It annoys me.
I never turn mine up.
But as we pointed out before, you got to hope that that's not the only air venting system at the very top because if you put that sideways in a little cubby hole, then that's not going to get proper ventilation.
Also, the thing, which is the stupidest reason to not, but this is the thing, if I'm going to rotate a console, I need the little logo to move. On the PS2, you can rotate
you could actually flip it around.
If you put your 360 up or whatever, then it changes the logo, and if you're going to move this one, then the logo will not be the right way around.
Maybe
that'll drive you mad.
It will.
With the light, maybe.
Damn well better. I'm pretty sure if it's the same button as the Xbox One X and stuff, it'll be in place, and it'll never look right, Ash, and it'll look wrong.
Oh, it's like the Spotify thing being slightly off center.
Yeah. Once you know it, you're just
and
like
Google as well. Isn't the Google G not perfectly symmetrical?
Yeah, it's not.
Found out?
Yeah.
In the first person in the world to notice that. I think Rich told me anyway. Something else that was announced was Bravely Default 2, which like Bravely Default is just one of the best like turn-based JRPGs ever. What?
I will agree with you, but I have one bone to pick with this. I did not like how they didn't really like push any of the strengths of it. Like the voiceover sounded a bit corny. The
models are a bit naff.
it just looked like it was all like retro style thing. And I was like, oh, but this is such a beautiful world and it had such an impressive combat system. And the combat system was a huge focus of the first game. Why were they not pushing that straight away?
As you know, it reminds me of like when Pokemon came out on the Switch, and it was like, oh, well, you'd expect because it's a home console that it would look amazing. You know, they'd take advantage of like the first home console, but then Pokemon Sword and Shield just looks like a 3DS game on a Switch. It doesn't actually look that much better. Like the worlds are a bit bigger, or the maps rather, but like the character models are the same. The actual Pokemon themselves are the same. Maybe that'll be the case with this.
Like, don't get me wrong, like the whole sort of like I guess you call it chibi art style of like the big heads and the big eyes sort of thing, and like it looks fine and it looks really nice, and I can understand why people like that art style, but I just feel like it sometimes is tonally quite weird because you've got like a really hard-hitting emotional storyline delivered by what look like little tiny like food mascot style things.
Yeah, on with Review Default, all the like official artwork is way more fleshed out and way
it looks
more
so good. It's beautiful.
And it kind of reminds you of like Octopath Traveler. It's just sort of like when
same company, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like when you're in battle, they look different versus in the world. Maybe they'll do something else. I mean, like that's the thing. The only piece of footage that they showed was like the squad standing, and then what do you call the main woman?
And then just like
with the gem, wasn't it? Yeah. Because I didn't like that. As someone who would be new to Bravely Default, I didn't learn anything from the trailer.
Exactly.
Like it was just two like drawn images which aren't a part of the game, which is just like again fleshed out artwork, and then a load of people standing with a gem, and I was like, good.
That gem's really important.
Oh, I guess.
Letting you know.
I guess.
Now this is the thing. If this was a movie and they'd done that, and say the first movie was like a cultural phenomenon and everyone saw it. Say this was like the sequel to like an Avengers film. Like you would just see that and you'd be like, oh, I know because I know everything about it. This is basically trying to trade. Use Bravely Default 1 on that level, but it's not. It was never. It was a big critical success, and it did shift a fair amount of units. But it's just it doesn't have the same weight. Like if it was say Final Fantasy with Cloud doing that at the end, you'd be like, "Whoa, I know this character."
Yeah.
But
wasn't the Splinter Cell goggles something they did at one of the things?
Something like that. Everyone would know because
God!
Don't get your hopes up. If
that ever happens, I'll melt. But that's the thing. Like if they want to trade on iconography, Bravely Default never really had any.
I just spotted your face, but
like did I miss a thing?
I know.
When did that happen? Because like at some point when they herald the return of Splinter Cell, they'll have to knock all the lights out and just put the goggles on, and that'll be the one sound that comes on.
I have a false memory from you talking about it so much. I think is what it is. I was like, oh yeah, that happened this year, definitely.
Oh god, that has to happen. Ubisoft, if you're listening, which you aren't, do that. Otherwise, what's the point of bringing it back?
If you yell loud enough, they might be able to hear you because we've
we're not
got
that far away from them.
in Newcastle.
Knock on the door.
Yeah,
Mrs. Pouvier. Let me in. The Godfall was shown off from Gearbox and this new company called Convergence Games as the first PS5 game, which is like.
Oh, it looked good. I thought
it looked solid, but I was quite underwhelmed by it.
No, don't. Ash, tell us why you think it looks good. Like no pressure on this to sell.
Don't do a thing, but also why is it looking good?
No, because it'll be really interesting to get another side.
Well, if I just think it looks nice. I just think it looks nice.
It's not that it looks bad or anything. I just came away looking a bit meh, but what do you think?
I think it looks like a rip-off of a lot of other games.
Yes.
I think it feels like the kind of talking that they had between each other remind me of like Gears of War, kind of.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It felt very pally, and then they're just dressed up in like Dark Souls armor. Yeah. But like I thought it was a compelling trailer, and I want to know what's going on. I want to know why it's happening. All the people look really cool. And if it's customizable, that sort of thing, I want to know about it. I just thought it had a lot in there that was engaging visually enough for me to go, ooh. I am interested by that. Like, unlike Bravely
Default.
I can't remember the name.
It's not even a very memorable. Like Bravely Default is just kind of a stupid name anyway. Like
Now,
for an RPG.
that Hydra as well in the giant tornado, like that looked very cool.
I'd pop for that. Pop large.
The thing that I thought was about, I thought the graphics were a bit meh. Like they were fine, but I was just like, yeah, like you said, it looks like it's like some kind of Destiny characters. It's a group-based thing. It's like it's another loot thing, and then they put a statement out saying it's a looter slasher.
Now does that change your opinion, knowing that it's a looter slasher?
Looter slasher just sounds like running through, smashing up dungeons though, which I'm very down for.
I guess you could say Diablo is a kind of looter.
I mean, the thing that they want to do, which we mentioned in the other video, is that like they want to do for melee weapons what Borderlands did for guns, which makes sense. But yeah, I just thought that because they put another video out alongside it, which kind of proves that it is like a Soulsy type thing, where the guy's like turtling around an enemy and then does this sort of like melee finisher looking thing where he knees a dude in the face. Pretty game for some more melee finishes. But I just think for like the first for the fact that we got Hellblade running on the new Xbox stuff, and then we've got this as the new PS5 thing. The way Sony are rolling out all the PS5 stuff just seems so fractured and weird.
Yeah. Out of the two, like Hellblade has it, like 100%.
Hellblade looked gorgeous.
Like they've crapped their pants, like from PlayStation with their first reveal.
I can't believe that because I mean it's like okay, so what have we got? We've got this pretty cool game. You get to fight gods and this Hydra in the sky sort of thing, and we're going to tease the fact that it's called the PlayStation 5. What have Microsoft got? They've got a full spec. They've got a full breakdown of what they have. A really cool trailer, and they've got a really good independent game as their forerunner. Oh dear, maybe we should have pushed. Maybe we should have pushed Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe
which we can touch on Ghost of Tsushima because they put a trailer out on the 10th. I forget what that was in connection to. There was a
it
little
was the
teaser
state
thing.
of play.
Yes, the state of play thing on the 10th. And so they were like, "Oh, come back for the full trailer." What do you guys think of that stuff?
Holy balls! I want this game so badly.
I think I might be the same as you.
Don't you say it.
No, it just it looks good, but I just don't care about it.
Like, I wish I did.
Yeah, like I feel like I should care about it a lot more than I do. I think it looks incredible. I think it looks great, and I will enjoy it when I pick it up because it'll just be very beautiful, doing all of the samurai doing with the swords. So I really am hungry. Between all of the sword fighting and stuff, I think that it'll be really good. I want it to be my second try at Sekiro. You know what I mean?
Hopefully this will be like a middle ground.
Yeah.
The thing that stands out to me is that I have such a thing at the minute. I think it's just the sort of like generation fatigue where I'm dying out. I'm crying out for new ideas. I want new ways to play and new things to do and things that we haven't seen before. And I'm sick of seeing gameplay where I know exactly how that's going to play. And so when they showed this, it was like, well, it's a bandit camp with tall grass, and you're going to like clean it out the same way they do in Assassin's Creed. And I was like, okay. Like, I absolutely adore Japanese folklore and mythology, but then for me, there wasn't enough there.
The problem is that Sekiro came and it threw the curve out. Because if Ghost of Tsushima had come out, or maybe even if Sekiro hadn't even come out, then this would be a really fresh idea. The problem is that there are too many comparisons that you could instantly draw because it's like...
It's more like Assassin's Creed than Sekiro, though.
I guess so. Or maybe even like Far Cry in the way that you approach like sort of like...
I don't know, because there's been loads of like Norse mythology games that have been very hit on PlayStations and Xboxes recently and gaming consoles all around. Norse mythology had like a real trend, and everything that came out for that felt new and different and like inspired. Like I want to go and play it. And there's all sorts of times where things get rehashed. Like fantasy is done to death, dragons are done to death, and you're still compelled to go and play them. So I think it just needs a little more push behind it. It looks really interesting. Like I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm not saying it looks whatever. I just need a bit more from it.
Fair enough. Like this sort of USP hasn't been made clear, as it were, for it.
Because they showed the stealth gameplay. They showed like the combat stuff where he hacked some dude's arm off, and they showed a lot of the horse riding stuff, which are like solid pillars you can combine. But I just wonder if they're playing it a bit safe because it's just the amount of money that'll be behind it, and it's another Sony formula game where it's one of their first party studios, maybe a second party, but it's within the Sony wheelhouse, and it's like that means that you're going up against Days Gone and Uncharted and whatever. So it's like there are certain expectations to that formula that for me are looking a little bit rogue.
Maybe it was because of the fact that I felt like the I'm maybe on the other side of the fence, and I thought this looked brilliant. It's very much my cup of tea. Like I love Tenchu games, I love Sekiro. Like I just want to play more sort of like feudal Japan stuff. It all stems from like Dynasty Warriors, love as well, even though that is China. This one is just like, but I feel like the narrative was almost there.
That's what it is, yeah.
I was like, give me a reason to care. Like this ghost idea, like what are these special abilities this ghost have? Is he actually alive? Is he not? And then it's just kind of like, he's just a dude, and then he takes his mask off, and it's like,
You kind of they hang for ages, like he's gonna do something.
Like,
What's going on?
are you a flawed character? Like,
Yeah.
are you a guy who's lying? Is he like just some guy, or what is it? And then it just like swept across. I was like, okay, fine.
Actually, even that character is a bit Sekiro-ish in terms of like surviving a big battle and being one of the only people to come out of it. In Sekiro, like he gets rescued by
Straight away, yeah. It's
Kenshiro, I think.
the owl daddy.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And but like, yeah, he rescues someone from this big battle or whatever, and then in Ghost, it seems like he drags himself out of the battlefield, and then you go from there.
That's what it just feels like. It just feels similar. It feels similar, and I just want a little something more, something like spicy at the end, which would have gone. Oh, okay, now I'm interested. Want to know all about the story.
Do you know what? They could have easily had that, and they had the perfect setup because he calls out that person's name. The door opens. There's that blinding light behind it, and what would have been brilliant is to have just seen a glimpse of the enemy. If it had been a foot or a sword hilt or an emblem or something like that, I would have immediately identified with what he's trying to get from this person. But to say, tell him I'm coming, it's like, did he kill you? Is it his army? What has he taken from you? What's the point of this? Like it's too many fractal storytelling threads that haven't connected right at the moment. And you can't give everything away. I understand that. But as a trailer to hook you in, there needs to be a
close
reason.
as well. Like they said, it was coming out like summer, like next summer,
Yeah.
which makes it one of the last, if not the last, PS4 exclusive, like
Yeah.
the big major one. But yeah, for me, it was just like gameplay looks solid, but it feels like something that we've already done a few times.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want everything on a plate. I don't want everything given to me. I don't want to be told the whole story. I thought the Godfall trailer was good because it just had enough. I think it's because I think personally it might be because there isn't any weird supernatural stuff going on. Like
Maybe.
I like because it plays very straight.
I want it to be grounded.
Yeah, like, and that's absolutely fine. That's why maybe that's what it is, that there isn't some fantastical element that's like, okay, here's a thing that we're going to throw in. But yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting
Waiting
on
a little bit more.
Waiting on it.
Another thing which I didn't even know was in the works is Fast and the Furious Crossroads. Which looks
Good.
pretty bad.
Honest to God, so I watched the trailer for this and I was like, I am severely underwhelmed by this. So I scrolled down just to see what the general reaction was, and it was like people saying, "Oh, I can't wait to bust out my 360 to play this game because the graphics look pants on it, man." They got Vin Diesel in.
But the thing with Vin
Tell.
the thing with him is if you de-res or don't render Vin Diesel very well, he just looks like a potato. And like so many games have done a bad Vin Diesel that it's very easy to get that guy wrong. Another thing with him though is that he started Tygon Studios and they did The Wheelman, so they've done,
which was actually all right.
Yeah, they've totally done like fun, like driving games or shooting games or action games with like more unique mechanics. Like you could like vehicle jack, like jump from one car, get to someone else in midair.
That was actually pretty fun. Though.
Yeah, and it's like they had like nice little cool ideas, and there wasn't that much polish to it. But at least they were trying something, and that might be in here too. But like some of the stuff when they showed like I guess it's almost half in-game cutscenes of like someone jumping to a train or whatever. The animation was really ropey.
It was when the cars landed and the suspension didn't even move, and I was just kind of like, oh, maybe it's very in keeping with the films. Like
It's not though.
I back it if it's going to be as ropey as the film, like as in just like backing itself on being a janky version of a game. I don't know.
But the movies put like millions of dollars into having the most fun possible.
Yeah.
This does not have a budget.
It's not big dumb fun, but it might. I don't know. It's like the wrestling game that's been really bad.
Oh, WWE 2K20.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
that being so terrible and people having so much fun with the glitches.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of that. Like people are just going to take oh my god, I'm trying to think of YouTube safe words. I keep trying to swear and being like, nope,
No, you can't.
I can't do that.
Poppycock.
Oh yeah, but I think if they just lean down the road of being a bit bad, it could be.
It could be a banter game. I mean, that worked for Ghost Recon Wildlands, where it was like really buggy, the physics were dumb, and you just like hurtle off a cliff in a bike and you'd be fine.
But with 4 people playing online, it was just a silly sauce. I enjoyed it a lot.
Maybe that's what they're going for. I think it's weird considering the placement of the Fast and the Furious. Like that thing I guess it's still riding high. It always like sells well.
But Hobson Shaw has been the sort of focus, so now it seems
But
weird.
then that kind of underperformed, so it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like they could have done with putting this out back when like Fast like 5 through 8 was coming out.
Like, no offense, they knew if they really wanted to sell this well, they should have just got The Rock in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe he will be in the game, but like
I hope so.
but he
They'd
will.
have said by now.
I think they would have led with it.
Yeah, it just feels like that would be the money maker, as it were. But I mean, like, I tell you what, this game reminded me of. You guys ever play a PS2 game called Stuntman?
Oh god, yeah.
It came out
It's
in
impossible.
2003,
Yeah,
something like that.
2003.
Like it was it was a fun game, but it was a flawed game. And I feel like this is the stuntman of
Stuntman
the
was just
PS4.
so trial and error that I got so sick. It was like, do this
yeah.
exact burnout and then drift around here and get to here. And
Yeah.
if you miss any bit of it up, you have to restart the whole thing.
Yeah, and there was loading screens.
Yeah.
Endless.
It was a
screens.
time, but yeah, I mean, there's potential, I guess, for a big dumb fun Fast
Yeah.
and Furious thing that's officially licensed with the cast, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it very much.
It was the bit where I can't remember the name of the female.
Michelle Rodriguez?
Yes, that's it. She is firing a gun, and her face just never changes. It's just sort of like, this is action.
Yeah, there's it's got maybe some more time in the oven
Yeah,
before
maybe.
it comes out. The Magic MMORPG got announced, which is like the weirdest out of left field thing. Called Magic Legends. It's described as a free-to-play action MMORPG, but that's all we know for now. What do you guys want to see from it?
I just want to see everything. I was really excited. Like I was looking at all the card like animals that were coming out, the little goblins and stuff, and I was like, oh, it looks so good. I just want to live in the world of Magic, like the planeswalker abilities, the giant horrible spiders. I will kill them all.
Your army of cats to walk behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, see, I have a magic cat deck which I play with, and just
It's broken. It's broken to hell.
Around the world to cobble
They're all
together.
foreign language cards that I've made up the stats for. But
Just printing out a piece of paper and writing on like plus 100. That goes there.
If I can make my Dispel deck into real life, into MMO, to annoy people as much as I do when I play
I'm
with
not
that.
playing against you.
Oh, but
It's-
the thing is
oh.
that Scott and I have got a 13-hour flight coming up in January,
Yeah.
and the Magic cards are coming along. We aren't not going to be talking by the end of that flight.
We all went through a massive phase where we played Magic every single day, and then it kind of like just you get to a point in Magic play. I don't even know if this is interesting for people who don't give a crap about Magic, but if you play for a while, usually you get to a point where you've put so much money into it that you're not fun to play against anymore. I mean, anybody can, and you just have like one card that has no immunities or whatever, or has all the immunities. Sorry.
look at your face, because you know that
It's all- this
you.
is all
you
JG
ruined
Jules Gill.
Magic.
All I remember
Even
is
my fake illegal cards didn't ruin Magic.
it was my zombie deck, the one that was just kind
Was
of
it?
like,
Was that what it
I
was?
remember just casting it and being like, right, so I'm going to generate 20 zombies. They're 2/2s, attacking with haste. There we go, done.
Talk to you about 5. Oh well, this does this, then this does this.
Yeah,
this
and
buffs
you're
this.
just- and you're
Actually,
just-
I've won, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
What's even the point?
Slither
Just-
deck.
yeah.
Slither deck.
I never played Slither. I never played Slither.
It's terrible. But yeah, so there's a Magic MMORPG. Hopefully, we'll know more at some point because they've put very little out so far. But the idea of it, that world deserves to be.
Oh yeah, I'm
fully
surprised that it
interactive.
hasn't happened before. I mean,
Yeah.
there was actually I did have a look back at what other Magic the Gathering games have come out, and there was quite a few sort of like puzzly.
I
sort of, like,
get the regular one every year, which they switch to like an overall like platform,
which is great.
it's
It's
pretty
amazing. But to take that and turn it into an MMO is kind of like it's actually a big leap because there's so much lore to draw from. So the question is where they're going to start and what story are they going to tell.
Well, I think you said you play as a planeswalker and are wandering around the world, isn't it? But like could be anything. I think it should just be new IP and like visiting all the monsters and stuff from the universe.
Yeah.
But new IP and maybe the stuff like maybe in the future of this realm sort of thing. So you've got all of this legendary lore in the background.
If they used it really cleverly, they would be able to use it to launch new card sets.
Yeah,
as in like
100% will.
because it'll be like, oh, look at this brand new thing. You get to experience it before you play it in card form.
I'd buy
I want to do something where you are still card battling in the game. I don't want them to
Yes.
lose that, but that would be maybe weird as like characters go up to each other and either they visualize the combat through cards or you're stopping and actually dueling people.
Oh, it should be like Gwent in like
Yeah.
Witcher, like, where it's like a little side play thing. You could do it in a tavern maybe, and then like it just meta, have it just really meta.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Because but then I guess at that point you'd have like characters that are themselves on cards. I don't know, but I know that I want cards
But like
in
when
my
you
Magic
when you
game.
kill a monster, you could have it as your card.
That would be
Yeah.
that would be great. I'd
Yeah.
love it as well if they did like more tongue-in-cheek stuff where it's just kind of like, hey, we're going to turn you into a card in this game. And it's kind of like, oh, sick, I'm a card. Like,
Or if you could take a photo and then put
Yeah,
yourself in.
yeah, that'd be
pretty
great.
cool.
That'd be great.
The last thing is The Wolf Among Us 2. Even though Telltale went bust and then got resurrected, Telltale's situation is weird because they're very much
Yes.
Telltale in name only right
Yes,
now.
yeah.
The company that bought them out, or the two people that bought them out, offered all the ex-Telltale people freelance roles so they could come back if they wanted to. But the studio is 400 miles away from where the original one was, so it's like whatever. But the point is that in that acquisition, they also got the names of the franchises that existed,
Yep.
other than The Walking Dead, which went to Skybound. Point is that they were allowed to do The Wolf Among Us 2. So that's potentially still solid, I
the
guess.
first game was utterly brilliant.
I love
I
it.
would argue that it's actually the best video game that Telltale
It didn't beat
made.
season 1 of The Walking Dead for me, but
Season
it's
1 of
really
Walking Dead
close.
is
That's
the one.
That's
Yeah.
that's absolutely fair. Like, but it's just that for me, I felt like this. I'd never read the comics that these are based
You
on,
should. You should get
and,
Fable, it's great.
and that's the thing. Afterwards, I went out and I got them, and I was like, "Whoa, there is so much going on in here that's brilliant." The comedy in that game, there's sort of the aping of the noir franchise with all of it. It's just everything I like about sort of video games because it's cartoony, beautiful to look at, interesting characters and stories, silly and off the wall at times.
I love the idea
Brilliant.
of like you play as like Bigsby Wolf, and it's like the whole thing of like fairy tale characters. What if they were real? What if they were powered by everyone's collective imaginations? And that means that some of them are more powerful than others, and then like some of them wax and wane and get weaker because they get forgotten about if their stories are too old or whatever. And like they play around with that stuff like a hell of a lot, and mean that it makes it so that everyone has to live together, but then they do crimes in amongst all that stuff.
It's great.
But yeah, crimes. But yeah, I guess it's good to see that stuff coming back. Do you guys have faith in just in a it's Telltale but not really Telltale?
I think as long as the people who were behind Telltale originally, which is what it is, because they've invited them back, sort of thing. I think as long as they keep that heart in it, then that's what matters. But I don't know. I'm just interested to see how it goes. I don't know if I have faith in it, but I'm just more like optimistic, but keeping a step back from it just to watch how it plays out.
I think because it's like I said, they're Telltale in name only for the most part, and the two people, I forget the name of the two people that wrote season 1 of The Walking Dead, but they left and formed Campo Santo and then did Firewatch, which for me I could totally tell. It was like that's where the quality moved across kind of thing, because The Walking Dead only kind of got worse. But hopefully they can make it work. It feels like this like dialogue-driven game had its big burst this generation and then kind of went away. Like Life is Strange, one of the only games still flying the flag.
I mean, honestly, Life is Strange 2, just for anyone who's interested in that, that's just come out on like physical release now, all of the episodes. It's brilliant. Yeah. It is brilliant.
Season 2 is phenomenal. Yes, and that was pretty much it. Unless, we might as well end. Do you want to talk about No More Heroes 3?
Yes, I do.
Go on, sir.
Let me tell you a tale about Jules and how much he loves No More Heroes, the franchise, because it is utterly bizarre. Like, Grasshopper have made some weird games in their time, but the No More Heroes franchise is fantastic, with exception, the one that you played on the Switch.
top-down one is terrible.
We will ignore that one for now, because
really
this is why this is No More Heroes 3,
yes.
rather than 2.1.5.
It's not even a thing. I mean, the dude, is it Suda51?
Suda51,
wasn't involved in the top-down one, and like has said that he's like ready to come back properly for this one. So
when this trailer started, it was like a Studio Ghibli film about a boy who meets an alien, and it's like a retelling of E.T.
The alien's voice.
It's so funny. Yeah. Did you watch it all the way through to the end when he grows up?
Yeah,
like, oh man.
But
so like
the voice.
But yeah, that popped me big because I was like, it is so cheesy. It is ridiculous. And then when eventually the alien grows up and comes back down and he's just a douchebag, and he's
it's like
I'm a real prince, dude. He's like arms over the woman that's on the, and I'm just like, dude, what the hell, man?
Because they like parallel or parody E.T. Like he finds this kid, he finds this little like young alien baby when he's small, when he's a kid. The alien leaves, he grows 20 years, and then when he like goes back to the place where they're gonna meet up again, the alien that comes back is like this weird dude bro thing with his like entourage of prison mates, and he wants to destroy the world.
I had a quick look, I paused it and just had a look at all of the designs that they've got from there, and I'm like, they're so wildly varied and different. Like one of them had the one that destroyed the city. She's floating in a chair. She lets a squid fly up from her. The squid fires a massive laser beam out of her mouth that doesn't just explode the city, it turns them into cartoons before doing it. I was like,
and then they blow up.
What?
And even the smoke from the explosion was weird little like
faces. Like it was like, bleh.
It's a weird thing. I think they could do with showing some gameplay for that, but the tone is obviously spot on. Like Suda, like his characterful nature is all over that stuff.
I mean, Travis Touchdown is a bizarre character.
Sliding in on the Akira bike.
Oh, it just looks like he's an unlikable character. He is a douchebag. Like he's horrible. Like his motivations for wanting to become the world's best ranked assassin are literally to sleep with a woman. That is literally his entire thing. And then along the way he learns that maybe that's not actually a good idea. And then the second one comes along and goes, no, actually it was a good idea. I enjoyed it. And it's like, cool, right, brilliant,
good.
But the third one, I'm hoping that he's really leaning into it. He goes, they're looking for a superhero galactic battle rankings, and I'm like, yes, now we're going to go over the top.
That idea of ranking heroes, that's One Punch Man. That is totally what he's taking that from.
Was that already in existence when he started the first game? Because ranking assassins was like. But either way,
him vocalizing it made me think of the way that One Punch Man talks about his like wanting to get up the ranks or whatever.
Either way, looking at how many people the bosses that we'll be fighting, it's just that's all it is. It's just a boss fighting simulator. Like it's I cannot wait.
It looks awesome. Wait. And we can end on just general reactions. You're allowed a few words. Game of the Year went to Sekiro.
Fair.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that's right.
Yeah, honestly, like just because I don't like it personally, I didn't enjoy it. It doesn't mean that it isn't like a good game that everyone else enjoyed.
The only reason I'm mentioning it is because it is obviously the whole video game awards for the most part was centered on the awards, but I think that it's easy to go and like watch the catch-ups and stuff yourself. So the biggest thing was Game of the Year went to Sekiro, which I was glad Death Stranding didn't get it because I think that Sekiro is a way more solid game.
I think Death Stranding is like just riding the wave of being a Hideo Kojima game for the most part, and I would think once everyone kind of wears away from that and looks at it for what it is, it'll get a different reaction. direction to it.
Yeah, it excelled in the categories where it made sense. Like it got Mads
Yeah.
Mikkelsen got best performance, and it
Yeah.
got best direction, it got best music. Like there's things like that are
Yeah,
great.
very fair.
But yeah, in terms of like the overall show, it was a hell of a show. Like really great stuff. The fact there's a new Xbox is ludicrous at this point, but we'll have it by this time next year. But yeah, let us know anything down in the comments below of the Video Game Awards, or come find us on social media if you're following along on the audio platforms. For now, though, this has been the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast, and I've been your host, Scott Tilford, joined by Jules Gill
Thank you very much for having me.
and Lash Millman.
Goodbye.
I'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.